Welcome to Soup Reviews. Today we review 2012's Backslasher. Luckily, the creator of this film left us a whole book on the back of the DVD case. Let's read the back of the box. When fun-loving party planner Becca, Eleanor James, starts a business selling sex toys and lingerie, she knows growing her social network will be good for business, with best friend Ruby, Emily Eves, managing an adult TV channel and Becca's blogcast getting more and more viewers. Potential customers are falling over themselves to add her as a friend. But someone doesn't like Becca having so many friends, and as Becca experiences a series of frightening encounters with an unknown stalker, people on her friends list start dying violently. It's not long before the supernatural psychopath known only as Backslasher closes in on Becca and her small circle of real-life friends, forcing her into a desperate struggle to save herself and everyone on her friends list before it's too late. Wait a second, supernatural? You heard that right, supernatural, though I'm not sure why I said that out loud. Really? Supernatural? Yeah, come to think of it, I could think of a couple times where the killer did something confusing, and I just chalked it up to incompetent filmmaking. That makes sense. Although, just in general, the killer doesn't do anything explicitly supernatural. Occasionally he pops up in a weird place, but for the most part he just does things that a regular human being would do. So I don't really think that the supernatural aspect needs to be mentioned on the back of the box. Well, now that we've wasted a bunch of time debating whether or not supernatural is even a part of this movie, let's get to the review. So, the film opens up with 5 ladies looking through a box of clothes. As ladies are apt to do, right fellas? So it turns out that the girls work for some sort of campsite, and then they start bickering between each other and they get into a little fight. As women are apt to do. Am I right, fellas? I think this is as good a time as any to mention that this movie is written and directed by Tim Cowles. So then you get Lily and her boyfriend out in the car, and then also Becca, who invites her boyfriend over to her hotel room to vent. Backslash 2. Exploitation. If you know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. So somebody's messing around on the outside of the car, and Lily gets scared. As women are apt to do. Am I right, fellas? Now, this scene is shot conveniently so dark that you can't see what's happening. But what you do know is that Lily's boyfriend gets killed when he exits the car, and then the backslasher comes into the car and stabs her with this huge knife up the throat. So that's our first kill. And then we get to the next day where Becca is at some creepy dude's house, I don't know, offering some sort of services, and he won't let her leave when she gets creeped out. Finally, she's able to escape. She meets her boyfriend at the hotel. Backslash 2. Hold on a second. Exploitation. So then we find out that Becca and Ruby are housemates, and that Ruby gave a copy of the house key to Lily, which makes them nervous, obviously, because the killer just killed Lily. Then we see Isla jogging through what seems to be a park, and then she is abducted by the backslasher, and then a video gets sent to Becca of Isla being tortured. In this video, the killer beats the hell out of Isla, and then finally stabs her through the mouth. So then we find out that the backslash symbol is this dude's profile name, and he's friend requesting Becca's friends and then hunting them down and killing them. And here's where we find out that apparently Ruby and John have been fooling around behind Becca's back. Well, then Ruby's taking a bath, believe it or not, non-exploitatively, and the backslasher appears in the bathroom with Ruby. He tries to drown her for all of about 2 seconds, and then Becca comes back to the house and stays with Ruby because she's scared. As ladies are apt to be, am I right, fellas? So then John gets lured out to the woods for some reason, and the Backslasher runs across the screen from left to right, slashing John each time before finally stabbing him in the tum-tum. Now, Becca finds the dead John, and then she gets arrested, and the detective thinks that Becca is the killer. She figures out that the killer is killing off her friends list. And this is the exact reason why I have over 4,000 friends on Facebook. I watched this movie and started indiscriminately adding people. Good luck, guys. So then this movie really starts accelerating to the end. The detective wants to arrest Becca, but her dad keeps that from happening. The Backslasher then starts killing people at Becca's workplace, including an awkward super strength kill of another cam girl where he chokes her to death with one hand while picking her up off the ground. He then kills the producer lady in front of Becca and Ruby. Then they begin running. Well, it's more like a brisk walk away from the Backslasher. Amazingly enough, after all this killing, his knife is magically not bloody. Warning, soup spoils. So he catches up to Ruby, he kills her, stabs Becca, but then Becca gets his big knife away from him and maybe stabs him? It's hard to know what happened exactly because this scene is taking place where light does not exist. So Becca runs into a stairway and he follows her. She then turns off the lights. So now, it's not only a place where light doesn't exist, it is a place where even the concept of light has never been. Something happens, and then she leaves the stairway, and you can hear sirens approaching. And then he pops up behind her and stabs her. Roll credits. There is also an alternate ending that is also too dark to see what's going on because it was filmed in a vacuum. But it ends with her dad getting killed instead of her. For being made in 2012, this movie should look a whole lot better. It's not by any means a terrible movie, but there were many familiar tropes to a slasher movie that were not executed particularly well. For being low budget, they handled the kill scenes perfectly fine without showing any kind of gore. And the budget of this movie really shows in what is not shown. That being said, I'm going to give this movie a D on the soup scale. It was a perfectly enjoyable movie. I think the budget would have been better spent on gore rather than the women taking off their clothes. And the jokes that I'm making are all in good fun. The bottom line is, they made a movie, and I have not. Now watch this majestic dance while I explain to you my plans for spooky season. So this month of October, I'm planning on releasing one short horror movie review every day for all 31 days. I might just biff it and eat crap on my face, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to pull this off just fine. Special thanks to Shakefist for letting me use their music. Thanks, guys. You're gonna regret it.
After